with all those things I just talked about. We need to allow them to influence our thinking, influence our behavior, influence our actions, influence the way we raise our kids, influence the way we run our businesses and engage in our communities and engage in the political sphere. We need to remember the value of America and the love that we have for the freedom and the bastion of hope that we are to the entire world. And when we hold on to those values and we hold on to the Constitution and we pledge allegiance to the God from whose heart this nation was created, America will never fail. Welcome, everybody, to the Courageous Truth Podcast. I'm honored that you have chosen to spend a little bit of time with me today. I want to ask a simple question to all of my fellow Americans out there. What does it mean to be an American? Nowadays, there are many different ideas of what America should be, what America should look like. At the very foundation of that question, we have to examine what does it mean to be an American? The first question we have to ask ourselves is, what is America? Who is she? What was she designed to be? You see, America is more than an organization. It's more than an idea. It's a living, breathing entity. It's ideas that bring freedom and liberty to the hearts of all who adhere to those principles and to those values, and those who have been born and those who have decided and been vetted to allow into America. What a great responsibility it is to be born here, and what an even greater responsibility it is to be accepted as a citizen of these great ideas, these great principles, and this great liberty. It is an amazing honor. In order to be an American, we need to understand the true threats that face her. Why is Marxism and communism and authoritarianism and totalitarianism such a threat to our way of life? Because it's a top-down oppression. It's governmental oppression on the people. When this nation was founded so that the people would have the loudest voice, the people would have the control, the people would decide the future, decide the fate of our nation, our economy, our businesses, our churches, and everything in between. We are a republic, a constitutional republic. We are not a democracy. We have got to stop using that language. The constitutional republic. The Constitution was created to ensure that we remain a republic. The government likes to twist the Constitution, and they don't want the people to know the Constitution so they can do whatever they want without fear of accountability. They have come in and divided the people so that half of the country thinks that what they're doing is good and the other half knows that it's not. In order to be an American, we have to speak the truth about America. We have to understand our history. We just celebrated Columbus Day yesterday. Columbus Day was where we remember that Christopher Columbus sailed to the American lands and began a colonization here on this soil. Now, the object of course, was to coexist with those who already lived here. But it is not the same as it was back then. It was a world of conquest. And we conquested bad ideas so that good ideas could sprout and spread. The Native American people, we should honor them because they are people. We should love them because they are people. The First Nation people are worthy of human rights and American rights. But America was founded as a colonization of ideas and then began to spread. We do know that there was clashes between the ideas of those who were here before us and those who came in to begin America. And maybe it wasn't pretty, and maybe it was awful at times, and maybe it was violent at times, and maybe the government did abuse those people. In fact, we know that they did. But American ideas won the day. And we have to celebrate that, and we have to recognize that, and we can't feel guilty because of that. We need to speak the truth about what the Constitution says. We need to speak the truth about what it means to be an American. We need to speak the truth about our strength of military and our strength of economic force and our beacon of freedom throughout the world. We need to speak the truth about America, what it means to be an American. When we slander America in our colleges and we slander America on the media, it makes us look foolish throughout the world. And even if America was founded on some sinful acts, righteousness has came through it, and we need to celebrate that. We can't surrender our values that we have fought for because of what possibly could have been misunderstood about the past. Yes, slavery was an evil, but we have eradicated that evil from our nation. We need to celebrate the eradication of that evil and not feel guilty for the fact that it existed. We need to celebrate righteousness, not carry the guilt of the past. We need to love our culture, our history, and we need to love our people. The American people are some of the most beautiful, freedom loving people. We are allowed to be free thinkers. We are allowed to be free speakers. We are allowed to be free movers within our nation, and that must be celebrated and loved. We must celebrate the culture of America, our love for patriotism, our love for our nation, our love for our values, and our love for celebration of all those things. We need to love our nation and the beautiful history that we have. And we need to celebrate the evil things that we overcome to be the nation that we are today. As an American, we need to fight the emotional and spiritual and ideological battle to a righteous end. We need to be emotionally controlled as American people. We need to be ideologically steady. We need to be spiritually pure before our God and recognize that the founding American values were so popular that even people who didn't believe and didn't think it could work signed on to them. We need to recognize the fact that our values are so close to godly values that even people who did not believe in God signed on to them because they were such strong values. As an American, we need to always pursue the best result for our nation. We need to put our nation first when it comes to foreign policy, when it comes to military operations, when it comes to economy, when it comes to military intervention and humanitarian intervention. We need to put our nation first, not because other nations don't matter, but we are an America first nation. We are an America first people. We need to love our nation above other nations. We do need to become nationalists. That name has been so demonized in our culture and by the liberal left and progressives, but being a national is actually a righteous thing. You're in people who wave the Palestinian flag and the Ukraine flag and the Mexican flag. They're pledging nationalism to those nations. They're not pledging nationalism to America. We need to be an America first nation. We need to love America more than other countries. We can love other nations, but we need to love our nation first. God is a God of nations. God is a God of borders. God is a God of boundaries. And if we were founded on godly biblical values, then we need to celebrate our border, protect our border, vet people that are coming in, and then celebrate them once they've been vetted and are here. We need to rethink our policies and our ideology on immigration. We don't want invasion. We want migration. And migration should be done orderly and it should be done safely and securely because we want American values to remain. And if we allow cultures to come in unchecked, then what's going to happen is the American culture is going to dissipate and dissolve on her own land, and we are going to lose the very fabric of our nation to other cultures that have been given permission to come in and been enabled to live out their culture without any kind of boundary or respect or pushback. We need to celebrate the freedom that America offers. People are out in the streets yelling and screaming about fascism. They're yelling and screaming about Nazis. They're yelling and screaming about all these dictatorships. None of it has happened yet. None of it has happened yet, and it will not happen as long as we remain a republic. But we are so divided and we're so offended at political figures that we can't see that. And in fact, there has been one side that is so brainwashed to believe that fascism is actually taking place, and fascism and totalitarianism and authoritarianism is actually here. They've been gaslit by their political leaders that they believe it. And they are actually ushering in that authoritarian rule because they're offended because they don't understand what's truly happening. And they've been gaslit. America says, no, we are going to listen to the people. We are going to listen to reason. We are going to listen to values and boundaries, respect and honor first. And then we are going to form our assumptions. It shouldn't be people against people. It should be people against the governing officials. With all those things, we need to allow with all those things I just talked about, we need to allow them to influence our thinking, influence our behavior, influence our actions, influence the way we raise our kids, influence the way we run our businesses and engage in our communities and engage in the political sphere. We need to remember the value of America and the love that we have for the freedom and the bastion of hope that we are to the entire world. And when we hold on to those values and we hold on to the Constitution and we pledge allegiance to the God from whose heart this nation was created, America will never fail. But if we surrender our values for values that come from overseas and foreign lands, we will see our nation dissolve. And that is what the ideological civil war taking place in our nation is all about. It's about the patriots fighting to maintain America and the liberals fighting to disintegrate it into the hope of something better, which does not exist. And history will tell us that. The final question I have for us all is this: how do you support America? How do you love America? How do you protect America? How do you fight for America? How do you hold on to those values? And finally, are you proud to be an American? I am proud to be an American, and I will give my life for that way of life. Will you? Thank you for tuning in to the Courageous Truth Podcast. Think about those questions today. America is worth fighting for, worth standing on, and worth giving our life for future generations that we may never meet. Let America remain that beacon of freedom throughout the entire world, and may it be sustained for generations to come. And in order for that to happen, we need to take a courageous stand for the truth. God bless you. See you next episode.